Hey y'all, welcome to Weekly Hyperfixations. I'm Riot. If you're new here, welcome. But regardless, I wanted to announce I am house sitting again, which has only happened one or two times the whole time I have been doing this. But next week I will be back to my normal setting. But this week we've got an interesting docket, honestly. It's predominantly things about tech, which is not something I hugely talk about, but it's interesting. So first up on the docket, OpenAI has lost their case against Germany in terms of copyright and things like that, which is a really good step in the right direction. And I will say, hey, if you're not anti-AI, what are you doing here? And I mean any form of generative AI. I mean anything from GPT to any form of character AI, anything like that. Hey, you're destroying the environment. It's been proven. Quit, just stop. You know, it's not that hard to live without it because we've spent millennia without it. So obviously we didn't need it. I'm very get more anti-AI right now kind of vibe. Okay. Let's touch on some other things first before we continue talking about that. So they released a teaser trailer for Toy Story 5, which is a lot. Even as someone who doesn't really enjoy those movies, I get invited by other people to go see those movies, and the first couple movies were just shown to me. It's really interesting that they basically retconned the entire end of the previous movie just so Woody could be in this one. Not sure how that works, but I don't like that. And I already didn't really like Toy Story in the first place, so but they do have the antagonist is very clearly this like this tablet that the kid can play on, because if the kid's playing on the tablet, they're getting sucked into screen time and they're not playing with real toys, that kind of thing. Which is definitely the logical route in terms of plot for them to go at this point in time. It's just, you didn't have to retcon the end of the fourth movie. And I didn't like the fourth movie, but it is weird to retcon something that was that important to the fourth movie. Yeah. Anyway, fun fact, a little thing passed in this country that will make it functionally illegal to have any form of THC being sold or anything like that. And crazy to have weed be something that's allowed in the country long enough that it becomes a $1 billion industry, and then you take it away and give everyone a 2 months notice to get rid of it, basically. Hey, what are you even doing? You know what I mean? Ugh. I just thought, I don't smoke or anything because my body is not built for things like that. But I do think it's interesting that they let an industry grow just to tear it down on a whim, basically. Really strange. So that was interesting. And I think I'll talk about one more fun thing before covering the rest of the stuff, and then I'll save two of the very fun things for after talking about it. So the last silly goofy thing I'm going to talk about before the end of the regular first section of Weekly Hyperfixations before the pyramid is that the Mario Galaxy trailer came out, okay? And there was like a mini Nintendo Direct revealing Rosalina's voice actor and the voice actor for our seemingly antagonist for this movie, Bowser Jr. Rosalina is going to be voiced by Brie Larson, which my immediate comment was, oh, of course, Stargirl for Stargirl, because Captain Marvel is also like a lot of star symbolism. So my brain was like, yeah, obviously. Also, it's just a very good voice choice for Rosalina. Like, it doesn't feel jarring or anything. And the movie looks very pretty, though I will say there were some things that were not Mario Galaxy related that I saw that confused me. There was a split second where you see this big roulette wheel and a bunch of little ninjas jumping, okay? Hey, that's Delfino Plaza related. That's Mario Sunshine related, okay? Are you with me on this? And then, a little bit before that in the trailer, I think, Mario and Luigi are on little mopeds and they're going through a desert, which is very clearly, I want to say it's the like Tostarena or something desert. But that's from Mario Odyssey. So I'm very confused on what the plot is here. But I do suppose that even though you're having normal Mario Galaxy worlds, you can also have other worlds, I guess. If we're treating it like that, I guess that works. But I thought that was really interesting. But baby Bowser, that's not correct in the slightest. Bowser Jr. Is voiced by Benny Safdie, which okay, I'm gonna be very pressed not to move because the camera started glitching out. And I don't know what I would do about that right now. So Benny Safdie is voicing Bowser Jr. If you do not know who that is, I've only seen Benny Safdie in one thing. It was not a voice acting role. It was an on-screen role. And I love how I told some of my housemates why I knew this actor, because I was like, hey, give me the wildest guess in the world for why do you think I know this actor? One of my housemates said Psych, which is valid. I do love that show. And then the other, okay. And then the other housemate guessed Magic Mike, which is really funny because I've never seen that movie. And I think it's funny that my housemate assuredly thinks I have via making that guess. But no, Benny Safdie is in Oppenheimer. I'm pretty sure that he is the guy who he does a lot of the math side of things. Something Teller is the last name of the character. And I'm pretty sure he's the guy who does the calculations and figures out that there's like this very, very non-zero chance. So it's very tiny, but it's not zero chance that the atomic bomb would blow a hole in the atmosphere and cause the Earth to die. And hey, that's Bowser Jr. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, also I want to apologize for any of the editing in this episode. It may get a little wonky because every once in a while the camera is glitching and it's not glitching how it has in the past. I'm going to try and cut out most of it so that I don't have to put any sort of like seizure warning on this, because it is flashing colors and sometimes it can get really bright. But just so you know, for your knowledge, if the editing in this episode is a little wonky, that would be why. Also, bless the camera for not glitching while I was talking about that. Okay. So also, we're gonna move from Mario Galaxy. We're gonna move on to a bunch of anti AI things. Okay. We've got quite a bit. So there's this new game that came out called Arc Riders, and they used a lot of generative AI for voice acting in the game. Okay. And there was a statement put out by Eurogamer. If you're not familiar, you know, they put out reviews for games, give it a rating out of 5 stars, that kind of thing. They gave Arc Riders from Embark Studios 2 stars for their game. And they, the little blurb on the graphic they gave says, Embark Studios' continued use of AI voice generation is a black mark against its reputation. And the tweet that Eurogamer put this out with says, for Arc Riders to ride the wave of human sociability all the way to the bank, while also being so contemptuous of the thing that makes us social animals in its own workflow, demonstrates a lack of artistic integrity that I find impossible to ignore. So I really, really enjoyed seeing that. That was wonderful. Fun fact, this very week, I had a friend who is the longest standing friend I have. That's not a joke. Because, you know, before middle school, I had to move my whole life to a new state. So you know how that works. I wasn't able to keep in contact with anyone previously because I had literally just finished 5th grade, and, you know, everyone having cell phones was not a huge thing at that point yet. So this was my longest standing friend because they were one of the first friends I made after moving. Okay. They, as far as I'm aware, they had moved to another country to do a master's in data related to environmental studies. Their new master's is in AI and data. And all of a sudden, they went from being an environmentally conscious person who wanted to learn more. Okay. They went from being an environmentally conscious person who wanted to learn to get a master's degree in another country in things things relating to, oh, hold on. Did the camera just glitch again? I can't tell. They wanted to get a master's overseas in both data and environmental conservation to help better the environment, since they knew that schooling for that in the US would be very difficult to acquire. I don't know how in the world they went from being a person who wanted to continue to help save the environment, okay, to someone who is on the bandwagon of something that is known to be destroying natural resources that are not renewable and things like that. Hey, how'd that happen? So I joked to both my partner and my bestie that it was fortuitous that I had started calling this other person my bestie, because turns out the friend that I've been super close with since we were like kids, basically, decided that they no longer were following their moral code. And that friend and I also had gone to religious school together and like things like that. And we're both queer individuals, but just the okay. just the whole idea that someone who I grew up with, who was the smartest person I knew that was my age, and also had the strongest moral code out of anyone I knew, they just like fucking folded their moral code and threw it away over something so like deplorable. You know what I mean? And I just can't with them, you know? Like, I fully sobbed that day, and my bestie and I were joking. They were like, even my bestie, who's only met this other friend a few times, but has had conversations with them before, even they were like, this is the last person on Earth I would think would join the AI bandwagon. Literally, legitimately the last person on Earth. Like, I thought, they literally said, I thought they were smarter than that. So that's the tweet. So I'm a little pissy about AI this week because, hey, destroyed a more than decade-long friendship. Cool. So there's heavy undertones of that this week. I'd like to take a moment to read a director named Vince Gilligan. He made a statement on AI to what is this magazine called? To Deadline. And I just wanted to read this. He also openly said that Guillermo del Toro was like an absolute, like, just so incredibly wonderful because in case you haven't heard, and I'm not speaking about it because it was limited release in theaters and I didn't get to see it in theaters, but the movie, his version of Frankenstein came out. And you know, it's Oscar Isaac, Mia Goth, Jacob Elordi. Cool. He refused, he literally wanted to use as little CGI as possible. The entire scenes that are on that giant fishing boat, hey, they made the real boat. That's a real boat. The makeup that for Jacob Elordi, because he's the creature, took him 5 hours to don the makeup and 5 hours to doff the makeup. That's 10 whole hours just for the makeup because it was all practical. Things like that. So yeah, also it's getting it makes a lot of sense that Guillermo del Toro wanted to use as little CGI as possible, because even if you're using CGI in a movie, some people, for some reason, due to AI, have forgotten that CGI is a thing and just automatically assume that if they see something CGI, for some reason, they assume it's AI, even though CGI predates that by so very long. That's interesting. But anyways, back to the topic at hand. This is a little excerpt from the article interview with Vince Gilligan. He said of his disconcernment with the technology, when your selling point is, this thing is great. It'll write your high school essays for you. It'll create your artwork for you if you're an artist, so you don't have to actually learn how to draw and paint anymore. You don't ever need to learn how to read a map or use a compass. This thing will wipe your butt for you. What's left to live for? The creative spark in human beings. It's one of the most precious, wonderful things we have. What is more important than being creative? And I think I have a second thing. He continues later on. I'm talking about everyone who will be robbed by this, not just the fat cats who, like myself, make a living at it, but anyone who gives up any kind of painting or music creation or writing. You're giving up a part of yourself, he said. If you elect to have a machine do those things for you, you're losing something. You're losing a part of yourself. You're losing an agency. To use a word from the movie he directed, pluribus, that you would otherwise possess, that you no longer have at your disposal. So that's the tweet there. I heavily agree with that sentiment. Hey, if you're going to have this machine do literally everything for you, literally what is the point of life? You're not doing anything at that point. You're outsourcing your life to a machine. Does that not make sense to people? Like, I really genuinely do not understand how people cannot comprehend that. I also wanted to, and this I only saw in a screenshot that someone reposted from an article. It does not say where the article is from, but it does say the author of the article. The article is written by, I want to say it's Elenia Dimopoulos. Nice, that's a Greek last name for sure. It's just the title of the article, a caption to go along with a graphic, and a subtitle for the article. So the article title says, "It shows such a laziness. Why I refuse to date someone who uses ChatGPT." Subtitle: "It's the ultimate ick. Trying to form a deep, lasting connection with a person who outsources original thought." And then the picture caption. "Okay, so ChatGPT helps you write your grocery list. Does your individual convenience outweigh the societal harm it can cause?" I just wanted to share that, and I'm sure I put it on screen as well. But I just wanted to share that because there are definitely, there's a lot of reasons that men believe that there is a loneliness epidemic in this country. And before anyone comes after me on that, I am a polyamorous person in a relationship with 2 men. So if anything, I'm doing more for men about the loneliness thing than they are. That's a joke, but you get what I mean by that. But I think it's so funny that for some reason men have taken to outsourcing blame, basically. And I know an individual who does use GPT specifically, and I am this close to sending him that article because I overheard from a friend. And I say overheard, it's literally just someone telling me their firsthand account of a conversation. But she one time had a conversation with this friend, and he told her that he was a chick magnet who could get whoever he wanted, but he also said that he only pursues women for the chase. Once they're interested, he drops them. That's really funny to hear from a man who's only had 2 relationships and they've both gone downhill because he was literally at their feet both times. Anyway, but for someone who pretends to have such a false confidence in dating, especially when there's literally people who write articles that are like, hey, I won't date someone at all who uses ChatGPT. And I literally just thought to myself how interesting it would be to live in a big city during this time and to just go on simply just first dates, just little coffee dates. Hell, I'll even pay for my own. And at every single date, have my first question out the gate be like, what do you know about ChatGPT? And based on their response, I would then leave or continue talking to the person. And I think that'd be a really funny experiment. Unfortunately, I'm not really in a town where I can do that. I'd prefer a big city for that kind of thing. But mainly because you can get a wider pool of different kinds of people. But alas, you know what? After re-articulating it out loud, I am going to send that article to that friend who thinks that he has game at all. Dog, I'll be so honest with y'all, he doesn't. Love the guy. He's an excellent friend. That's not true. He is a good friend, as in I value him as a friend because I've known him for like 10 years, I think. Has it been 10 years? I don't remember. But needless to say, he's getting a little narcissistic with it. And I'm like, let me just take you down a peg because I know you're a better person than that. Kind of started rambling off rip there. My apologies. But anyways, that's the tweet. Get more anti-AI now. It's destroying communities. It's using all of our fresh water, which is not a renewable resource, by the way. And when I say it's ruining communities, I also mean that data centers that are being built are causing people to have a combination of unclean water and also a lack of water pressure if they are within a certain radius, basically, of a data center. Also, a single data center takes up more energy than the entire city of Chicago. If that doesn't sound outlandish to you, I don't know what will. So that's the tweet. All right, guys, we're going to talk about something exciting to me. Marvel Rivals Season 5 announced. And whoo boy. Oh man. It's the wedding of Remy LeBeau and Anna Marie Rogue. I'm very excited. They also teased Scott in the trailer, which that's just going to be a whole other mess to deal with. Marvel Rivals, I will give you my entire heart and soul if you add any sort of vague romantic tension between Wolverine and Cyclops, please, for the love of God, because they're like, oh, love is a battlefield. Hey, if you're adding Scott, okay, if you're adding Scott, all of the people they showed at the wedding were Magneto and Gambit and Rogue. I will absolutely despise if Magneto says anything toward that. And then the only other people shown physically at the wedding are Logan, Emma, and Scott. And we know Jean is in the game. Hey, no thank you. No, stop. I'm going to stop you there, dog. If I see more Logan, Jean, Scott tension, I'm outie. And to make matters worse, Jean, Emma, and Scott, they've, in case you don't know, in case you're not privy, both Emma Frost and Jean Grey have been canonically married to Scott Summers. Okay. There's also that gross love triangle that happens a lot between Wolverine, Jean Grey, and Cyclops. Hey, none of that, please. Hey, putting them all in the same spot. Also, they're adding Scott, which, like, I get if there's a lot of theming for love. I get that Jean's already there. But also, hey, Logan's there. Hey, where's anyone? That's not true. What I'm thinking of is, hey, where's Nightcrawler? Because Rogue is his sister in pretty much any continuity. And they refer to each other as siblings and everything. Hey, where's Nightcrawler? Hey, they announced it on his birthday. Where's Nightcrawler? Also, there's a lack of queer couple representation in that trailer. They flash on screen, you know, Aurora and T'Challa, and Loki and Mantis, which is newer because Marvel Rivals fans kind of went crazy with it. Wanda and Venom, which is incorrect on a couple different levels, but like, whatever makes you feel better about yourself, I guess, Marvel Rivals. Hey, there's no queer couples shown. Hey, add Nightcrawler. Logan is not paired up with anyone. Hey, add Nightcrawler. This is the thing. There's this Tumblr post, and I may, if I find it, I'll put it up. But there's two different comic covers, one from DC, one from Marvel, that are both so obviously homoerotic, and the Nightcrawler one is, or no, it's a Wolverine cover, but it has literally like naked Kurt is like halfway on the image, and Logan's just staring at him, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I see. That's where I'm coming from with that. Also, because I don't think, like, Aurora and T'Challa have been married in the comics, so I understand them not going the usual X-Men ship of Aurora and Logan. That's fine. I will despise everything if they try to pin Logan with Jean. Get that out of here. Stop doing that. Hey, give Scott Summers a break for 5 seconds. There's 2 images of him in the trailer. One of them, he looks fine and dandy. The other one, he looks like he's getting got. Hey, give the man a break. Hey, give the man a break. He didn't even get a break in the comics on his own damn wedding day. Give this man a break. He needs a nap. He needs a little nap. But anyways, hey, there's no one paired up with Logan, and I know y'all ain't gonna try to pin him with Emma Frost, because if you're adding Scott, then you will already have 2 characters who have been canonically married to her, because she's been married to Tony Stark. You know what I mean? Just like, there's no queer representation? The closest thing at all to anything like that wasn't even in the trailer. It was a side note that it was a side note of those little accessories that we usually get. Johnny Storm, Human Torch gets one of Bagman, which is Spider-Man's Fantastic Four outfit. That's cute. That's close enough. Not really, but it's right idea. And then Ileana Magic gets a little charm of Kitty Pryde. And I went, okay, they're thinking about it, maybe. But I'm very excited. Both the voice actor for Rogue and Gambit are the same exact voice actors they have for X-Men 97, which is getting a season 2 soon-ish. I don't think there's any release date, but like they've talked about it a little more recently. So that's very exciting. I also really like that they're the same voice actors, because it really just kind of pins, like, these are the characters we have. These are the people we have for these characters. Which I enjoy. It's kind of, I like when they do that, because it makes it, I've seen little kids get confused when a character doesn't sound the same from one game to another, stuff like that. So, I do appreciate, I almost want to call it like a continuity thing. You know what I mean? But anyway, I'm very, very excited about that. And then y'all, this Sunday, is our D&D group's first one shot. I'm playing a healer. I've never played a healer character ever in most things. Especially not D&D. I'm playing a cleric though, so I'm a little bit tanky. But oh, I thought the camera glitched for a second. But I'm very excited. I do have to practice a Scottish accent. Otherwise, a Scottish accent. Otherwise, it's going to be a little more towards Irish. Because I decided I was going to do the mostest for character voice, since most people at the table can't really do accents. I'm kind of the vessel for that. Or for a wider variety of accents, really. British, I think, can be done across the board. We're all white people. But also our group is literally made out of me and then 2 sets of siblings. So, but I'm very excited because I've been the DM for like a year, and now I don't have to do that. And I'm less stressed about getting all of this done on time, so I have time to plan session, things like that. I can breathe. I'm also being let out of my cage. Thank you. I'm very excited though. So that's the tweet there. I'm going to move on to the pyramid because I've been talking for longer than I usually do. This pyramid was not a super hard choice. Hey, I don't remember who. Oh, okay. I do. I wrote it down. I can read. Our first half of the pyramid is just Marvel Rivals related because I'm excited about it because it's more X-Men and I am an X-Men fan. And then the top of the pyramid are just some silly, goofy things. Okay. First up on the pyramid is, in fact, Scott Summers. Not the first time this guy's been on the pyramid, but like also, hey, let him have a nap. Maybe let him have one day where something terrible doesn't happen to him. Like ever? You ever consider that, guys? I'm very excited. I am sure he's going to be a duelist. I am very interested to see how his powers work. I think it's really funny because, you know, that gif of the dude who's just kind of like, people are joking that's his reload animation, which I do find very funny. But I think they may try to make it a little more like how Iron Man's chest beam thing works. But it'll be interesting. I don't know. I think that'll be fun. I also think it's really funny that they showed us Scott in a suit first and not in his normal outfit first. Interesting choice. Sure, I'll take it. Also, Marvel Rivals is adding like a hub world, which I would have talked more about, but also by next week it'll be out. So I think I'll just wait to talk more about the new features next week. It literally comes out and the season starts in 2 days. So, all right. Next up on the pyramid is Gambit. Man, they took one look at this man and said, this is a man that loves his wife and like nothing else, dog. It's really sweet. They gave him arm tattoos, which is an interesting, I don't know if I've ever seen a Gambit that has a Gambit design that has that. I'm not super chillin' with Gambit though, so like meh. But I don't know. I'm excited for the season. I'm also very excited to see what his ultimate is going to look like. I haven't seen anything about it yet. But also I haven't super looked for it, you know, because I've been busy, but very exciting. I love that he is a strategist, so he does heal. It looks like heart cards do healing, spade cards do damage. That's really super fun. And he's going to have a power-up ability with Magneto. I'm a little iffy on that one, dog. It's a little scary. It's something like explosive entanglement or something, and I was like, ooh, I don't like the sound of that. But anyway, and then of course next up on the pyramid's Rogue. Recently in the comics, fun fact, I don't know if she like lost her powers or got better control over them or what, but she's been fully able to touch people with her bare hands and nothing happens. So I don't know what happened, but that's really nice. My brother and I are theorizing that they did that. And they start that whole scene in which we both encountered the fact that she can touch people with her bare hands was her like comforting some kid that was having a nightmare about something or something like that. And we were like, they're making her seem real motherly, and they also made it so she can touch people without hurting them. Are they trying to just, and then Marvel Rivals is having them be married. Are we trying to walk them into a continuity where they have children? I don't know. I do think that's a very interesting thing though. All right. Next up on the pyramid, the rest of the pyramid is real people. Next up on the pyramid is Jonathan Bailey. He is Fiero in Wicked currently. And I'm not going to say spoilers because the musical's been out since like 2007. He becomes the Scarecrow. Which is going to be so interesting. I'm excited to see the practical effects of that. Let's see. Also not super related. He was voted, I want to say like People magazine's sexiest man alive, which is really great because he's the first openly gay man to be put into that position. And hey, Wicked fans, I need you to stop fucking being gross about Jonathan Bailey. He is a gay man. Quit acting like you have a chance. This is at the girlies, obviously. Quit acting like you have a chance. He's gay. It's really weird for you to just continue talking about him like he's available. He's not available for you. This isn't for you. You know what I mean? But anyway, I put him on the pyramid because I found out that I don't check voice actors for Final Fantasy XIV, like ever, unless I recognize the voice. But I haven't seen Wicked yet because I'm watching them in a double feature on the 20th. But I haven't seen it yet, so I don't remember what he sounds like. So imagine my surprise when someone told me that he voices Grahatia in Final Fantasy XIV, who is a very beloved character and is a fan favorite for a lot of people. I have a commander deck, Magic the Gathering commander deck for Final Fantasy XIV. And the commander is Ishtola, different character. There's an optional different commander, and it's Grahatia. So when I found out and I looked it up, I checked everywhere. Grahatia is voiced by Jonathan Bailey, which I thought was crazy work. I also thought it was really funny. That's why Jonathan Bailey's on the pyramid. That's the real reason he's on the pyramid. It's because I found out he was in Final Fantasy XIV, but... Next up on the pyramid is Oscar Isaac. Not for his work on Frankenstein, though I'm sure that went great. There is a image I've seen where he's like operating on presumably the creature. Man is stark naked. Hello? Anyway, the real reason Oscar Isaac is on the pyramid this week is because he said, I believe in an interview that someone asked him about if he would consider reprising his role as Poe Dameron for Star Wars. And he basically said, I'm not really open to working with Disney right now because they've been siding with fascists. So obviously Oscar Isaac is cool. And it's not that hard to stop working with someone. Crazy how that works. It's almost like morality doesn't need to worry about a paycheck, because if you're on the right side of history, who cares? So that's why Oscar Isaac is on the pyramid. And then on the top of the pyramid, most ardently, the top spot of the pyramid goes to Guillermo del Toro because, first of all, he insisted that they use as little CGI as possible for Frankenstein, and they built pretty much all the sets were 100% practical, which is a lot of work, and that's crazy. But it's beautiful and it's art, and that's why it works. And then also, he literally said he would rather die than use artificial intelligence. So huge win. So not only is he on the pyramid for his dedication to his craft, but also this is a heavily anti-AI episode, and he is also in league with being anti-AI. So that was wonderful. I've been talking much longer than I have been usually. My apologies if the episode's a smidgen longer than usual. I try to keep it consistent. It never happens. It's not like back in 2016 where the Prime YouTube video was 10 minutes long, you know, like yeah. But anyways, I'm real excited for D&D this coming week. Excuse me. I'm also really excited for Critical Role, which is tomorrow. It's calmed down a lot. The first 4 episodes of this new campaign were crazy, and that was just the overture. Now we've started the real story. It's a lot calmer now. And I was taking notes way less frantically, to the point in which I think I started doing something else instead of taking notes last time, which was great. I started sketching something. That's what it was. But it was a wonderful episode. So much calmer than the overture had been. Oof. But anyways, thank you all again so much for watching. Again, my apologies if the editing has been a bit choppy. The camera sometimes glitches out, and I try to avoid as much of that being seen by y'all as possible, because it definitely seems like something that could put someone at risk of a seizure. So I try to cut it as much of that glitching out as possible, just for the safety of my viewers, really. And then also next week I will be back in my normal setting. I've just been house sitting this week, but still need to record because I do stick to my weekly upload schedule. But with that, thank you all so much for watching. It's been a wild ride this year so far. Thank you to everyone who's joined this journey as well. It's been a lot, and it's been a lot of recording, my hyperfixations over time, and also with how hyperfixating works, just things that happen on a week-to-week basis that are prevalent in my mind. And it's kind of, we're kind of recording how things shift over time through this medium. And I think that's really fun. And I thank you all for being here for that journey. So with that, I'll see you all next week. Same time, same place. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Comments do not have to be related to the video. Fear not. They really help with engagement, though. And I thank you to everyone who has been doing that. So yeah. Crazy how many of you there are. I'm still baffled, and I'll only continue to be baffled, honestly, by how much support I've been given. So I thank you all for that. So again, next week, same time, same place. Have a good rest of your week, starting the weekend, really. And then have a good week next week. I'll see you next Friday right here. And yeah. Have a good one, y'all. I'll see you then.